but I want wow, bow wow, bow bow, bow wow, bow wow, bow wow. It's, uh, don't ignore me. Anyways, Fallout 4, but the roaches double every day. I've actually never played Fallout personally. I'm not gonna lie. I do know of Fallout. I have seen some of Fallout. I know about the factions a bit, about the vaults a little bit. I'm not a big brain on it, but I know so much. I know some stuff about it. I New Vegas, Death Claws, Rad Roaches, the Mysterious Stranger, Perk. I'm gonna. I almost choked. Anyways, I'm on spit. Damn, that's a skill issue. But I do know more than that as well. The Mojave Strip. Yeah, that's all I know. So with that being said, hi, Dr. Malli here. Welcome in, and let's get right into this.
Sitting at home and the entire world plunges into nuclear winter, life gets a bit worse. Every morning you develop a new and exciting form of cancer, and every night somewhere in the world an orphan is dissolved by acid rain. But that's not even the bad part. The bad part is the cockroaches. We don't really know why, but they're doubling every single day.
Oh God,
Start with one roach, 2 weeks later you've got 16,000. Give it another week and it's 2 million.
Oh
and,
no,
they're not very friendly. To survive this insectoid nightmare, you'll need to build your defenses, hone your skills, and utilize a vast arsenal of weapons, or you'll die painfully. The choice is yours, and that wasn't a hypothetical. It's real. So let's get to work. But first, I have to tell you something.
Yeah?
I am a proponent of diversity.
Oh, God.
I don't think we have enough of it. In fact, I want to maximize the differences between human races until we achieve a fantasy world with goblins, dwarves, and the Turkish. Which is why 7 years ago, I petitioned NASA to slow the Earth's rotation and tidally lock us to the sun, such that America would constantly bask in the sun's radiance, while China would exist in perpetual darkness and slowly evolve into a mole society. I thought that would be pretty interesting. I also had a plan to turn the Philippines into gnomes, but unfortunately the frauds at NASA...
No, don't Philippine the gnomes. Don't gnome the Philippines. But no, what is this? This mass hysteria of just psychopathic tendencies. No, thank you. NASA does not want to do this.
Were afraid of my visionary ideas, and they promptly rejected my proposal, which sent me into a deep depression. The only thing that was able to cheer me up was the sponsor of today's video, Zenless Zone Zero.
No.
Don't let the acronym fool you. ZZZ.
No, I will not watch the Gooner game. I will not watch the Gooner game bait.
Life. It feels good, and I want that for you too. So give Zen Chrome and 6,666 Denny. How exciting. Exactly 12 p.m. to the video. The rules of this challenge are very simple. On day 1 at exactly 12 p.m., 2 roaches will spawn and try to kill me. I will defeat them because I am marginally more intelligent. Every day after that, their numbers will double until presumably the entire map is covered in 10 million rad roaches, at which point God himself won't be able to save us. Also, just for fun, we're playing on 400% game speed, so the days are very short. Now, the only way to stop the insect apocalypse is to destroy their leader, the king of roaches, Reggie Blataria. Calling yourself the king of roaches is basically...
There you go. I was gonna say, you cannot say king of roaches and not talk about the roach king Asmongold. I was about to say, there's no way you don't mention that man when you're talking about roaches.
A self-diagnosis for schizophrenia, but it's not slowing him down any, because Mr. Blataria is a very powerful enemy that commands an army of insects, and he won't even spawn onto the map until we reach level 35. So our goal is to power level to 35 before the roaches overwhelm us, then confront their king and put a stop to this once and for all. I did consider attempting this challenge on survival mode, but I get enough cock and ball torture at home, so I don't need to outsource that to Todd Howard. We'll be playing on very hard. Our journey
Okay.
begins in the bathroom mirror. Here, we meet humanity's last hope for survival. His name, Gut Fuckman, and he will become the greatest exterminator to ever live. Now, in order to kill a roach, we need to think like a roach. So I set my intelligence to 1 and max out my luck. This is going to allow us to access the Idiot Savant perk for power leveling. Everything else doesn't really matter, so just spend your remaining
Luck
time
does
giving
matter.
your character acromegaly and call it a night. Once that's done, we skip the opening tutorial and quickly fight our way through the vault. Now outside in the world at 1 p.m., the clock is ticking. At this point, you probably got a few questions for me. How will we power level to 35?
Sure.
Where is the Roach King? And most importantly, why is there a dead Pakistani on my couch? I'll answer most of these
That's
in time.
irrelevant.
Just follow
That's
along.
irrelevant.
For power
Irrelevant.
leveling,
Irrelevant.
We've got a plan, and the first step is to obtain Preston Garvey. Unfortunately, a couple other people had the same idea, so I had to use my superior diplomatic skills to convince them to change their mind. Dale Carnegie
As
would
the Americans would say, be keeping the peace.
be proud. After that, we joined up with Preston, jumped in a suit of power armor,
Oh.
died painfully to the local wildlife, and then made our way back to Sanctuary by 11 p.m. Now that we've got
We
access to
love
settlement
power
building, I
armor.
can reveal my master plan. Ladies and gentlemen, shelving. Allow me to explain. Building settlement furniture rewards experience, and the cheapest thing to build is wooden and metal shelving. We are going to deconstruct every item in this entire town and turn it into thousands of shelves.
my
If we do this right,
God.
we can probably hit level 15 by tomorrow morning. So, let it begin. I start demolishing everything. Street lamps,
Oh my
fence
God, that
posts,
guy died.
entire houses, even that chair you're sitting on. I'm afraid that's actually a shelf in progress. Gonna have to take that. Preston's face
bitch.
contorts in horror as I tear the plumbing out of his walls just to build more shelves. But he's powerless to stop me. I work
Just the show, man. The NPCs are having horrific dreams watching this man do things beyond their comprehension. Why do you have that many shelves? We must shelve more shelves. We must buy shelves to make shelves. We must put shelves on shelves. Shelves make shelves, you know? You put a cockroach on a shelf.
all night and into the morning until the first spawn of roaches hit. 2 of them attack me, but I'm so hopped up on construction fumes and asbestos that they never stood a chance. By destroying all public infrastructure, not only do I receive the satisfaction of knowing Mama Murphy will die of hypothermia, but I also receive 1,100 steel ingots and 2,600 planks of wood.
How
so
much
now
is
we
that
can
gonna
begin
be?
The method. Enter build
Not
mode
the
and find a
Vegeta
wall you
paperwork.
really like. This part is important because you'll be staring at it for the next 2 hours. Now start building shelves. Each one gives us 2 XP, and since I am a mentally challenged man, we have a high chance of triggering Idiot Savant to triple our XP gains. Once you're all out of materials, deconstruct the shelves
That's
for
cool.
a 50% refund and start all over. By the time you're done, the sound of your own neurodivergent laughter should be burned into your brain like a cattle prod. And you should also be level 16, which is nearly halfway to our goal of 35. Not bad. I pick up a few
that's a
perks to
start.
increase our damage reduction and help us gather more ammunition. But with no more wood or metal, it's time for us to move on to phase 2. Research and development. In a matter of weeks, we'll be wading through a sea of roaches. And if we want to come out on the other side
the
not
roaches.
looking like hammered dog shit, we're going to need to
Bro,
build
what
a
did they do to
roach-killing
Shaggy?
exoskeleton. In terms of physical protection, our current power armor exists somewhere between Iron Man cosplay and trench coat full of semen, which is to say I really don't want to wear it, and it's time to make some
Oh, that was. That's a horrible thing to say. No.
changes. First stop is the robotics disposal ground. I head there, making sure to kill as many innocent people as I can in the process. Their 7 experience points are an invaluable contribution to humanity's survival, and
not
the
the
world
American
will not soon
Psycho.
forget them. Arriving at the destination, we scavenge a few fusion cores, convince a robot to kill himself, and then come across some T-51 power armor. This is a nice upgrade. After that, I raid the nearby satellite base for supplies. This is where we meet a man named Ak, who cripples my brain
I
with
thought
a
that was the
minigun.
Roach
Very
King.
cool, Ak. Thank you. By the time we're done socializing with the locals, we get hit with the next wave of roaches. Only 4 this time, so nothing too serious. Arriving back at the base, we add our T-51 pieces onto the power armor. Now we just need some legs, an arm, and a torso to complete the set. Fortunately, along the west
you
edge
could
of the map,
upgrade
there's
it.
half a dozen armor
I
spots.
thought he was just being picky. I thought he just didn't want it. It turns out the version he had was the shit version. He wanted the real version.
So I set a waypoint in that
Okay,
direction and
alright,
get to
I
work.
see, I see.
Arriving at a Bible camp, I kill all the counselors to
No.
stop them from molesting me. The camp leader even dropped
You know
this
what, valid.
legendary wrist guard that turns me invisible after being hit. Very nice. Oh, and also I found Professor Goodfeels. In the grimdark future of Fallout 4, even the
Jerba.
robots are addicted
Jerba is
to
a
fentanyl.
cryptid.
Proceeding further south, I reached the ration stockpile, where I am warmly received by several Molotov cocktails and an attack dog. After returning the favor, I loot a T-51 leg and a combat shotgun, which I made sure to test out on the next wave of roaches.
Oh, that's
Tomorrow's
actually really
spawn will
cool.
be 16, then 32. So we're running out of time to finish this armor. Moving on, we come across a barn with a T-51 left leg. Now we just need the arm, and I think I know where to find it. The only thing standing in our way is my least favorite enemy in the Fallout franchise.
Deathclaws?
Flying bug. I am a simple
Oh.
man. I see a stingwing or a cazador and I experience suicidal ideation.
You know what?
No exceptions. My first
I'm pretty sure if the cockroaches flew, I would have this exact feeling as well. I cannot blame him.
attempt at killing the stingwing involved me shooting at it, doing
Missing,
no damage, getting poisoned, and then being unable to heal myself because my legendary armor turned our Pip-Boy invisible. Shortly after, I die in the streets, only to realize my most recent save was an hour ago. This was a compelling gameplay experience. After an hour of killing, I worked my way back to the stingwing. This time, we used a hunting rifle to get it to 20% health, before miraculously missing a headshot at point-blank range and it dying on the spot. Now listen, I've been outsmarted by bugs before, but this is getting a little ridiculous. So for the third attempt, I brought out the minigun, and things went a little differently. Each one of those bullets could have been a dead rad roach, and for that, I will never forgive the stingwing population.
My God.
Anyway, with that taken care of,
Minigun
I made my
for
way to
this, really?
military convoy, found the last piece of armor, and fast-traveled back to the base to complete our set. It looks positively beautiful, but it's missing one thing.
What is
something
it?
emblematic of the human race that makes us fundamentally better than the bugs. That
Okay.
thing is capitalism. By harnessing the power of branded sponsorships, our extermination
No
exoskeleton
way.
now has increased damage and
No
energy resistance.
way.
The communist bug maxers don't stand a chance.
It's against
So we're on day
capitalism. You
4
know
of
what?
the Roach apocalypse.
You know what?
We're level 17
Why
with a full
not?
set of power armor. This is pretty good, but we're only 1 week away from 1,000 roaches trying to rip us limb from limb. So what's my
Okay.
next move? I ask myself this question, and I answer it intuitively. I need a flamethrower. Now, there's
That
probably
is
a lot
valid.
of ways to get one
Very
of these,
valid.
but I like doing things the hard way. We're going to travel across the map to a place full of people who hate me, have several flamethrowers, and at least one of them wants to throw us in a giant pot of molten iron. I believe this will be a spiritually enriching experience. So I fast travel to a nearby farm to begin the journey. I arrive at the
Alright.
farm just in time to spawn 16 roaches on the helpless inhabitants. This is what we call a happy accident. After cleaning up the roaches, I get back on the road toward
Oh
the
my
metalworks.
God, you got them
Normal
killed.
roads might have speed limits or a toll booth to slow
There
you
is
down.
no speed
Fallout
limits.
roads slow you down by forcing you to spend 20 minutes beating a
Oh
scorpion
my
to death
God,
with
that's
a
a
tire iron.
giant
This is an element
scorpion.
of the post-apocalypse that I find
Oh my God! Look at the size of that stinger. God damn! Why are the scorpions this big?
personally disagreeable. Anyway, after using the scorpion's liquefied remains to fill a pothole, I did some looting, found a sledgehammer, and then made my way to the Finch farm. Here we find Abraham Finch, who is terribly distraught because his son Jake just ran off to join the raiders over at the metalworks. I look into his
I
eyes and
see.
smile reassuringly. Don't worry, old man, I'm going there right now to kill everyone. Quest accepted. I arrive at what I believe is the metalworks, but I wasn't 100% sure until I stumbled into a shed full of flamethrowers. Oh yeah, this is
is the
exactly
place.
where we want to be. All we have to do now is kill everyone inside, take their weapons, and then we'll be prepared for the next week of roaches. From the perspective of an invasion, my assault against the metalworks was an astonishing failure, but as a metaphysical exploration of the very concept of pain, it was a remarkable success. You see, the problem is this little skull right here. This is the equivalent of the skull and crossbones you can find on a bottle of drain cleaner, meaning this is incredibly dangerous, and you'll probably die if you drink it. But that didn't stop me back then, and it won't stop me now. Eventually, after many landmines and countless sledgehammer homicides...
I'm assuming it probably means a similar thing to the same thing in Destiny, where if there's skull marks above enemies, is like you're so under leveled that I don't think you should be doing this yet. Or extremely, they will kill you very easily.
We managed to fight our way into the metalworks. Our power armor, for lack of a better term, is absolutely fucked, but I didn't let that hold us back. In fact, I started role-playing as whatever the opposite of an occupational health and safety officer is, because I'm just running around beating people with a hammer.
Oh, I wonder what his level is
thank
now.
God this guy's wearing a hard hat. Otherwise, he could have got really hurt. I decided to yes and my own roleplay by unlocking this robot and programming him to shoot people with railroad spikes. This is the kind of work environment I can endorse. Once everyone's dead, I raid the lunchroom and use a collection of coffee pots and dinner forks to repair my armor. Then we head into the last area to confront the final raiders.
I'm sorry, what? What did you... That works in this game? You... Forget it. Forget I asked. You know what? Of course.
Arriving there, I find a raid boss named Slag, and also Abraham's son, Jake, who's having second thoughts about joining a gang of criminals that get impaled by railroad spikes for a living. I had this whole plan about how I was going to convince Jake to leave the raiders and return to his father, but before I could do any of that, I accidentally spawned 32 man-eating roaches, and things got a little messy. In fact, I'm pretty sure I beat Jake to death with a sledgehammer. After that, I minigun Slag's bodyguards and then spent 5 minutes determining how many concussions were required to liquefy this man's brain. The answer was 47. Once Slag was dead, I looted his incendiary sword, grabbed some flamethrowers, and threw Jake's body into the pot of molten iron. Sorry, bud, but if your father was to find your pulverized corpse, that would implicate me in a murder which I did commit, but sincerely don't want to be punished for. After that, I leave the metalworks and go back to Abraham to receive 300 XP for, quote, trying to save his son. Now we've got the armor, the weapons, and the indomitable...
Well, there was you went there attempting to do it. You didn't do it, but the idea is the implications are what matters.
Spirit of a serial killer. Let's head back to the base and prepare for the next wave of roaches. We arrive at 7 a.m. The first thing I do is modify our flamethrower, swap it over to a napalm fuel tank, increase the capacity, and elongate the barrel. Much like a purebred dog, hundreds of years of inbreeding have resulted in the modern exterminator being reduced to a pale imitation of his forefathers. Pesticides and sticky traps. These are to a pale imitation of his
It's a bit excessive, won't you think? A bit excessive. God damn!
Fathers. Pesticides and sticky traps. These are the weapons of a coward. But a napalm flamethrower and 5-ton military-grade exoskeleton, this is how bugs were meant to be killed. It's about 8 a.m., which gives us 4 hours to prepare our defenses for the wave of 64 roaches. We build a few generators, some fog lights, and a combat platform to await our destiny. Our destiny spawns gracefully on the bridge in front of us, and I waste no time incinerating it, stripping the flesh from its corpse, and then cooking it into a delicious meal.
Oh no!
Things are going to get pretty serious from this point, and we're still 15 levels away from being.
Oh no! Don't eat the roaches. You can eat anything else. Eat dirt, bro. Don't eat roaches. Ew, disgusting.
Able to kill the Roach King. So how are we going to close that gap? Well, there's two options. Option A. When we were at the metalworks, I picked up the schematics to build copper statues. These give a ton of experience and can easily power level us if we're willing to use an item duplication glitch to generate infinite copper. I tested this out on another save, and I can assure you, it works very well. However, I personally believe glitching and exploiting...
It looks like the statue army in China. I forgot what it was called, but there's pretty sure that there's like a tomb or something like that with like a lot of statues in them, I'm pretty sure.
To be a shameful tactic devised by the British to undermine our moral integrity. So instead, we'll be doing option B, which is waiting. In a few days, thousands of roaches will try to eat us, but if we're strong enough, we'll eat them first, and we'll be rewarded with thousands of experience points.
Oh my god,
so
you're literally just gonna eat them.
Fortify our defenses to stab, crush, shoot, and incinerate our way to level 35. But first, we'll need to scavenge some supplies, because this ain't gonna cut it.
A horde
My primary
shooter.
goal is to construct a containment
This is not just a hoarder
which will allow me to concentrate the roach population in one location for a more convenient genocide. I feel compelled to explain that this is not an allegory for the Holocaust.
Okay.
Please stop reporting my video. It's nearly noon.
I was about to say, bro, really just made a gas chamber, but I guess I won't say oh, too late. But you know, I guess it's not that kind. It's a modern kind, and that doesn't make it better. Okay, forget I said anything.
And the construction isn't complete, but luckily I don't think we'll need it yet. You see, when leveling up, I grabbed this perk right here. Pain Train is a power armor based ability that allows you to turn your body itself into a weapon of destruction. By sprinting into our enemies, we can damage them. Against a full-grown man, this is rather inconvenient, but against a roach, I suspect it will be lethal.
On them.
Now it's time to find out. And remember, this upcoming insect genocide is sponsored by Sugar Bomb's breakfast cereal. When you feel that crunch, you know it's gotta be Sugar Bombs. 12 p.m. sharp. 128 roaches spawn on the bridge in front of us, and we run straight through them like an NFL linebacker blitzing a group of preschoolers. This pushed us to level 21. The strategy is working. I did a few more flybys, and then Mercy killed the stragglers with an incredibly painful flaming sword. Just another day in the post-apocalypse.
Now you gotta eat them.
Day 13. This one snuck up on me. I was busy fighting the children of Adam over the contents of this passenger airplane when I lost track of time and accidentally spawned in 256 roaches, which proceeded to kick the ever-living shit out of me. This was terribly embarrassing. At first, I was killing the children of Adam because I hate them, but now I'm doing it so they can never tell anyone about what happened here. I did manage to survive this onslaught through the liberal and sustained application of copious amounts of napalm. But I'm getting low on fuel, and if we get caught out of our power armor on the next wave, it's not going to end well. As I was sifting through this pile of burnt roaches, I came to a realization. That's a lot of dead bodies, and it's starting to affect my frame rate. This is a problem which is only going to get worse
gonna crash,
unless we find a solution. And thankfully, I've got an idea. In Diamond City, there's a meat vendor that sells a wide variety of salmonella, but she also sells a book on butchery, specifically insect butchery. If we get that book,
you're gonna that looks that looks nasty. I was say you're gonna butcher the bodies, get rid of the bodies, and then from there cook them, I guess, but oh my god. We
can process these corpses, which will delete them and save our frame rate. So fellas, we're going to Diamond City. Based on my previous videos, I have a questionable relationship with Diamond City, but I am absolutely positive that nothing will go wrong this time. So I began my journey there, and like all journeys in the post-apocalypse, it involved me using a flamethrower to kill a mosquito, using a cancer gun to fend off the homeless, and getting chased through the streets by a suicide bomber.
You need something better for the homeless.
I had successfully made it to the front gate, where I found Piper trying to enter.
You want into Diamond City, right?
Yes, I am a normal and well-adjusted man with a car chassis welded to my torso.
What's that? You said you're a trader up from Quincy?
No, I said I'm a psychopath who wants to wear your skin.
Jeez, all right.
No, I said I'm a psychopath who wants to wear...
I love this. A zombie! I wanna kill you! In the ring? No, in real life! I love this.
Your skin.
I love that bit. I love that clip.
Like that,
whatever, I love that clip.
First things first, we go to the vendor and pick up the butchery skill book. At this point, I should leave. However, I get a bit distracted. Watch this guy get his head blown off. Then I tried to drag away his corpse to cannibalize it. But he got stuck on the wall of this barbershop and I couldn't get him out. So I had to leave him there as their new mascot. Just a little off the top, eh, fellas? By the time I was done dicking around, I realized it was already 10:30, which means I'm not going to be able to make it home before the next wave of roaches. So, Diamond City, I'm going to need your help with just one last thing.
Oh my god, you're literally gonna give Diamond City a roach infestation. Screw a zombie outbreak. They got a roach outbreak. Get that raid out. Oh my god.
And just like that, the entire city was swarming with 512 killer roaches.
Oh my
the
god.
bugs enveloped the area like a skittering, crunchy blanket, and I did my best to clear them out, but even with all of the citizens helping, it still took the better part of the afternoon. Also, at some point, I think I accidentally shot someone in the face, because the entire town became hostile. You know the worst part? Killing them doesn't even give experience, it's just a waste of bullets. So I forced myself to punch half the city to death to conserve my ammo. Then I spent 20 minutes jumping around killing the last of the roaches, before leaving the city under a healthy amount of incoming gunfire. Until next time, Diamond City. After our escape, we head back to the base, arriving at 8:30, which left me just enough time to finish the construction on my cockroach
well, I guess Diamond City's never gonna have a good day.
Entertainment device.
Not with you.
I call it the cock cage. And now it's time to test it out. Wave 10
The
spawns in as a
cock
pyramid of
cage.
roaches. I won't lie, I was scared,
The
but I manned
cock
up and ran
cage.
headfirst into this wall of flesh. My frame rate grinds to a halt as we liquefy hundreds of insects beneath the boots of our power armor. In the mosh pit of mashed up insects, I can't even tell what's alive and what's dead. So I just keep stomping. Heading toward the exit, I was under the impression I'd killed them all. However, I was very wrong, because not long after, hundreds of roaches sprang forth from the biomass and pushed me back through the hallway until I ran out of minigun ammo. Dear God, we're about to lose containment. I have to pull the emergency shutdown lever. I battle my way through 2 frames per second and flip the switch. This activates 4 emergency flamethrowers in the hallway, which prevent any more roaches from escaping. After that, I finish off the rest of the bugs with my
This is
sword
absolute
as I realize
cinema.
what I've gotten myself into.
I should have brought this for my PowerPoint presentation. It would have been perfect.
I hate to say it, but the cock cage is getting a little cramped. The original plan was to fix this by butchering all the corpses, but that made a lot more sense when it didn't take me 20 minutes just to select a single body. The good news is that wave power leveled us to 32. Only 3 more
You're
levels
getting
to
close.
go, and the Roach King will spawn, we'll kill him, and then I can shoot myself in the chest and die happily, knowing I'll never have to do this challenge again. The very bad news is that my computer won't be able to handle doubling the wave again. And I don't think you want to watch the rest of this video in 6 frames per second. So I have made a horrifying decision. Instead of spawning in the next wave of 2,000 roaches, we'll spawn in 500 Mega Death Roid roaches. They have 8 times the attack, 8 times the health, triple speed, and they're fucking huge. Oh, also, they possess godlike omniscience, which means they can detect me from an entire cell away, so hiding won't be an option. Now, unfortunately, our main base is ground zero of an FPS nuke. So we'll need to find a new extermination arena, and I've got one in mind. The Starlight Drive-In is a large area fielding several buildings for shelter and also a number of pre-war cars that can be exploded to deal massive damage to the bugs. I think this is our best chance at survival, so I made—
It's literally just a Vietnam minefield, but in Fallout. And you know what? I think it might work. Those cockroaches are scary though. I ain't gonna lie. I would no. I don't care if I'm ended up gassing myself to death with the amount of raid I'm gonna use on them, but I'm using it.
Made my way to the drive-in and waited for the next wave. As I was lighting this car on fire, I felt a familiar feeling. The feeling of my frame rate being crucified as 500 Anavar-infused rad roaches spawn into the world. Luckily, I spawned them on top of this car right as it exploded, and it barely even made a dent. The roaches chased me across the drive-in as I bathed them in Molotov cocktails to very limited success. I try to slash my way through their hordes, but they're quickly ripping apart my power armor. Desperately, I seek refuge in the projection tower. Locking myself inside, I think I'm finally safe, only to find out the roaches are crawling through the windows and hitting me through the walls. This is hell. I climb 3 floors higher to get out of their reach, but they're literally scaling the side of the building to get to me. This wasn't so much a difficulty spike as it was a difficulty gangbang with a 99% fatality rate.
What is this?
And as much as I'd love to have my body dumped in the Everglades, I can't let the roaches have that satisfaction. Alright, we need to get even higher. Over there, we can climb the projection screen.
They're gonna get up there. I pull out a
combat shotgun and make a mad dash for the screen. The roaches are not far behind. I rush inside and slam the door shut. Thank God, we're finally safe.
They're gonna be on
Looking down
top.
at the roaches, I think I'll have a nice relaxing afternoon picking them off with a hunting rifle. When suddenly, we're knocked off the screen by a climbing roach. And just like that, the horde is upon us. We're encased in killer bugs, and it is immensely painful.
Okay,
if you've
where's
ever
your
been
health?
Curious what it would feel like to be ripped apart by 1,000 grappling hooks, then you should probably talk to a psychiatrist. But I imagine it feels—
What are these clips you have? They're the most... The guy just ground the meat to irrelevancy, and the other guy just... Oh my god. Okay, whatever.
Feels something like this. The only thing keeping us
I
alive
can't-
at this
I
point
can't-
is
I
my
can't understand.
supernatural ability to consume my entire body weight in grilled rad roach every second. It's time to resort to plan B. You see, I spent 2 hours this morning placing
There's a
landmines in a nearby
minefield.
field. And
There's
like
a
it or not, running
minefield.
through an unmarked minefield currently represents our best chance at survival. So I forced my way
Minefield.
through the dog pile and led the bugs into our trap. The roaches stormed the field and were lit up by about 3 dozen anti-personnel mines. This managed to thin their numbers down to about 100 at the cost of accidentally breaking both of our legs. After this mildly traumatic
just
event,
drugs.
I briefly sought refuge inside a boxcar and I also tried a watchtower. Both of them terrible choices. It wasn't until we made it to this storage shed that we finally had some semblance of safety.
Oh,
In case
nice.
you're wondering, it's 5:30. We spent 5.5 in-game hours pissing our pants and getting curb stomped by roaches. But now we've got the upper hand. I spent the next 6 hours exercising my Second Amendment rights until the number
You
of
should be
bugs
high
was
enough level after
sufficiently low
this.
for me to meet them in the field for melee combat. By 11 p.m., it's finally over, and we're level 37.
Yes, you are.
Finally,
Go
we can
find that
confront the King
king.
Roach and finish this. But first, we're going to need one thing. After repairing our armor, I head to the robotics disposal site, where hidden among the burnt-out cars, we find this. A Fat Man
the
mini
nu-
nuke
that's the
launcher.
nuke launcher.
And over at the satellite station, exactly one mini nuke. This should be more than enough. Let's go introduce the Roach King to the concept of dying in nuclear Armageddon. I've never actually met him before, but apparently he's somewhere near the Corvega factory, so we head in that direction. After some traveling, we arrive there, but the only person I can find is clearly not a fan of the channel. Briefly running for my life leads me to a bombed-out ruin, which was strangely populated by rad roaches. And then I see him, Reggie
Roach
Lataria, the
King.
leader of the roaches. He's fielding pretty nice armor and a fucking minigun. But after what we just survived, this should be a piece of cake. We've only got one ammo,
How
so
strong
I
are
take
the
my time
nukes?
lining up the perfect shot.
How strong are
before
the
remembering
nukes?
I'm firing a nuclear missile. So as long as I hit the building, we'll be fine. Enter VATS. 9% chance to hit, no problem. I send it, and then tragedy strikes.
What do you
as
mean?
the mini nuke flies through the air, wave 12 spawns in. An entire goddamn
Oh
wall
my
of 1,000
God.
Giga roaches. Dear God, they've absorbed the nuke. It feels as if the gods themselves are mocking us, laughing in our face. But that's
Oh
just
my
my idiot
God.
savant perk triggering 500 times in a row. How humbling. The surviving roaches quickly swarm us.
How
as
did
I
that not
power
kill
level
all
into
the
the
roaches?
mid-40s. I force my way into the building to finish off Blataria, but he escapes out the window as his bugs delay me on the stairs.
How did
I
the
follow
nuke
him
not kill
outside
all the
and get a few
bugs?
good hits off before his roaches throw me 30 feet across the field like some kind of arthropod tidal wave. Every time I close the distance on him, the bugs launch me across the parking lot, but he's running out of bugs. Roach King makes the mistake of stepping out of position, and we charge
Get him.
straight into
Get
him,
him.
landing the
Get him.
finishing blow with our sword to finally put an end to his reign of tyranny. We finish off the remaining roaches, exit the power armor, and inspect his charred corpse. On it, we find the junky shish kebab, which is the exact same weapon I've been using this whole time, except this one does more damage if you're addicted to heroin. Honestly, I couldn't have asked for a better weapon.
That's the best-
Well,
that's the best
there
weapon?
you have it. He's dead.
Now you may die.
No king rules forever. However, without their master's command, the insect scourge will become an even greater threat to this world. Control must be maintained. Like it or not, there
You're the
must
no
always
roach
be
king.
a Roach King.
Oh my god. This
That's
is so
going to be
stupid.
it for this video.
This is
We've
so
utilized
stupid.
a wide array of extermination techniques and our own brain damage to power level to 35 and end the insect apocalypse. I want to thank this month's patrons for supporting the channel, and finally, thank you for watching.
That was great. Wow, that was great. I fucking love that. Oh, I gotta like that video. All hail Roach King. The Roach King was the journey from the beginning. All right, it was journey on the way. All right. That was great. I enjoyed that. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, the original video is going to be top of the description down below. So don't forget to support them because they're the ones making beautiful content. I'm just the person reacting to it. But as always, hope you guys enjoyed. And I will be catching you guys on the next one. Bye.